Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. Good morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going. morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. My name is MC Kalia, and I'll be your captain for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's have this conversation going.
The 23rd day of May 2023. My name is MC Kalia. This is the Morning Glory Show, and the Morning Glory Show starts now. So, being an Expert Tuesday, this particular morning we are discussing the opportunities that are available for you to study abroad. And this particular morning, I'm seated with three ladies from an organization called Grace International. So, they're here to just help us understand what are some of these opportunities that are there for us to study abroad. You'd remember that at this, or rather in the recent past, we've had a lot of Kenyans traveling abroad to go and look for opportunities to study and maybe also to work. And so I've just invited them this particular morning to share with us what it is that they do to also facilitate the process, or to rather make it easier for you to travel and study abroad. But then before we come to that, allow me to remind you that we are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is situated at Zion Mall, basement A in Eldoret. So anytime you need anything that goes into video and photo production, consider working with Dawi Afrique Photography. We are here to make sure that you experience some nice times in front of the camera, but then also behind the computers, we make sure that you get some good memories and some good documentation of the events that you could be having. And remember also that we have a safaris branch, and June is the month for us to travel, because we are going to Rimoi. So on the 17th and the 18th day of June, that is next month, we shall be going to Rimoi. Kule tujibambe kidogo. Of course, I'll be sharing more details on our social media platforms, but at the moment, just make sure that you are ready to travel to Rimoi and experience. Of course, it's the whole loop, Toroko and all that. But then, before you come there, I also need to remind you about dressing. You need to dress to be addressed. Okay, hope I'm looking nice. So you need to dress to be addressed. So make sure you walk into D-Square Fashion House, and remember that D-Square Fashion House now also have a school known as D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring just adjacent to it. So what does that mean? It means that you need to enroll there because you'll get a chance to learn from the best. Immediately you exit class, you can get a chance to learn from the best. That is the fashion designers, or rather the fashionistas who've actually gained experience inside the D-Square Fashion House. With that, allow me to give a chance to our guests to introduce themselves. Of course, I mentioned that they are coming from Grace International. So I'll start with Petronila. Of course, I'll mention one name so that I give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. So Petronila, karibu sana.
Asante sana, Kale. It's great to be here. We appreciate your partnership with us and just allowing us to come and share a few things about going to study abroad. My name is Petronella Gadhu, the head of corporate affairs, Grace International, Kenya, an organization that has been in existence for the last 17 years. We celebrate many alma mater of in terms of going to study international destinations like the UK, the US, Australia, and New Zealand. And we are definitely going to share quite a little bit more on studying internationally. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome to the Morning Glory Show. Of course, feel at home.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at the center, we have Caro. Okay, I don't know. Many people call her Caro. So you remember those days when our teachers used to ask you, unaitwa nani? Then you'd be like, Caro, jina moja kama mkate. So let's give Caro a chance to introduce herself in a better version.
Okay, morning. Thank you, Kali and the team, for this opportunity today morning for us to explore about studying abroad. I'm Caroline Rotich. I'm the educational consultant for international students here in Kapseret. We are based in Kapseret, but I'm here in Eldoret, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, also feel at home now. Last but not least is Faith. Faith, you have the opportunity to also say hi to our guests.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faith Nyambura. I'm the office administrator at Grace International Kenya office.
Thank you so much. And of course, if you're already tuned in, let me know where you are tuned in from. Of course, I can see already Alfred Sargent says he's tuned in from Perth, Australia. Obed Manori says Grace International. Very nice media. Of course, thank you so much for making time to be with us. I'll be sampling all the comments from both pages. There's the Dawi Africa and the Very Nice Media page. So feel free to comment, ask questions, and tell me what exactly you think about this particular show. And if you have any questions, this is the time to ask those particular questions. And now, the first thing that I would want us to know is to understand what Grace International does. So I'll give Petronila a chance to just maybe give a better introduction now of Grace International to our viewers. Karibu.
All right, Kalia, thank you so much. Of course, Grace International is an international brand. We are based in Nepal. That's where our headquarters are. Our offices of operations are based in Melbourne. It's a company that has 30 offices globally, and we've been privileged to help over 26,000 students internationally from their local countries to go and study in our education partners, which are very highly accredited across the globe. We have universities in the US who are partnering with us. We have universities in the UK, Canada, and even Australia. So when you come to us, we receive you warmly. And usually the first question that a student or a client would want to know is exactly what are the career opportunities that are outside there in the world. And we find that a few of our clients require clarity. So we have experts in terms of career guidance. We take them through what are the career paths that are available, how do they align with their interests, and also in terms of affordability. Then we also take them through university placements. We, on behalf of the university education partners that we have, so we do the applications for them, we engage the universities on their behalf, and also sometimes you find that in some of these international destinations, they'll require to have English proficiency. So we have a training center specifically addressing these key concerns. And then we take them through visa processes. That's a migration department. And then finally, when they are, traveling outside the country, we definitely prepare them, what are the do's and the don'ts. We escort them all the way to the airport. And on the other receiving end, we have our offices. Like you had, we are global company. So you find our team on the other end, receive them, help them settle. And the beauty about Grace International is that we work with them. We don't just send you to an international destination, but we're going to work with you. We offer you mentorship. We show you what are the opportunities in the international destinations, and we celebrate you when you finish your course. So in a nutshell, that is what Grace International does.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
so much for that. And I'll still come back to you and ask you the question now
Yes.
that you've said that your operations office is the best in Melbourne. Right?
Yes,
Does
yes,
it
it
mean that
is.
maybe now you've measured in Australia more than other countries, or what informs your choice of having your operations office in Melbourne?
Okay, thank you, Kalia. What's amazing about Australia, allow me to just bring out what's great about Australia in terms of as an international destination. We have great universities, and we are also realizing it compares really, really well in terms of return on investment. When the parent pays school fees there, what are the opportunities of getting back what you have invested? What are the opportunities that the university offers you? They are really diverse. They are broad. And then you also find that when students go to Australia, the opportunities of work are really distinct. The wage rate per hour is much, much higher than other international destinations. And you find that beside the wage rate, you find that there are very many opportunities for work. And one thing that has actually sold Australia as compared to other destinations is a post-study work visa. What do I mean by that? When you finish your 3-year program, for instance, in a bachelor's of maybe community service, you're allowed by the government to stay there for 4 years. So you find that legally you can actually stay in Australia for 7 years after you've done your degree. And if you plug into your master's program, for instance, you do it for 2 years very efficiently in terms of time, you find that immediately after that, they give you another 5 years to stay in Australia. So you find that our clients are finding it very, very attractive as a destination. Well, you can stay legally in Australia in terms of an academic pathway for 23 years, comparatively with other destinations, you find you stay there for 14 years. So you find that clients are really finding Australia is a very attractive destination. Not to mention that some of the universities that we are partnering with have amazing infrastructural facilities. Their ways of studying is really technology aligned, futuristic courses. So there's such a basket of offering for people who are studying in Australia. And that's why you find that people will even want to come from other destinations and study in Australia. I'm glad that one of our panelists today has been in Australia, and she's definitely going to tell us something a little bit about why that in Australia. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And so, moving now towards the center, we have Caro there. And Caro, the question that will come to you is that, of course, you told me that you've also studied abroad. And so, how different is it to study in Kenya from maybe studying abroad? Why would I want to go study elsewhere? Because there are people who say, is Kenya daima?
Thank you, Kalia, for that. Whenever you are told you're going to first thing that like for me also I and I remember first thing benefits first one well when you are going for bachelor period of so you are aware another big patron working so you find that you are able to work and you are paid for it so you position we have a students who raise their pay for keep and a promotion. Those are the things.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, if you're tuned in, this is the Morning Glory Show. We're coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. This morning we are with, it's called Grace International. It is actually a consultancy for those who are traveling abroad, and they're just explaining to us what are the opportunities that are available out there. And so, Faith, as I come to you, you said you're the office admin. Somebody would ask, what happens then once I enter into the Grace International's office, maybe here in Kenya? What happens?
First thing, you come to our office, we offer career counseling. We take you through all the careers that we have. After that, we do documentation guidance. We tell you the required document for application. After that, we do application process on behalf of the student. When we are done with that, now we do the visa process.
Thank you so much for that. Of course, I'll still come back to you to ask about what are the people asking for right now. But then somebody is saying they can't get Caro quite well. I think, of course, do confirm to me if we are now clear. If you're not clear, let me know so that we can sort that out. But then in the meantime, I think Caro would share the mic with Faith so that we do not lose what you are saying. And so kindly just switch the mics. Then the question that I'd asked Caro is, what exactly or how different is it to study abroad compared to studying here in Kenya? So Caro, please take that again because some people say they didn't get you quite well.
Okay, sorry for that. Kalia, when we say that the advantages of one going to study abroad, you find that we have that work program for students when they are going there. So when you are there, you realize that you are able to cater for your basic needs. Basic needs, that means you are able to pay for your educational fee. You are able to pay your upkeep. And at times you also gain a lot of international experience in terms of the skills and the knowledge of your career. There is that personal growth, both financially and also career-wise, yeah.
Okay, please let me know if we are okay now. Of course, I can see some likes, which means yeah, we're now doing good. Thank you so much for letting me know. And that's why you are there. And that is why I'm here to make sure that you get some quality work. So let's tusaidiane tuhakikishe kwamba mambo yanasonga. And thank you so much also, ladies, for making time to be with us this particular morning. Of course, I can see we have Chepchupa Kwambai already in the house. You have James Momanyi, thank you so much. You have Beatrice Kering, thank you so much. Felix Leting, thank you so much. Zakito Kenya, thank you so much. Victor Babu, thank you so much for making time to be with us this particular morning. So, as we continue to speak, of course, you've said that your offices are now in Melbourne, but then, of course, you have also 30 other offices that are spread across the world. And the question that now everyone would ask is, how different is this organization from all the other organizations that are providing consultancy for people traveling abroad? Because we have quite a number, and we are not saying maybe they are not doing the right thing. All we are just saying is, how better would it be to travel with you?
Right. Allow me to take that, Kalia. Why Grace International? It's interesting when we build a brand over the years. Grace International has built a culture of care. It has built a culture of customer care, after sale service. So, for instance, when you come to us, you actually belong to a family. We pride in holding your hand from the beginning of your course selection, the process of your application, the anxieties. Like, one of the anxieties that every parent has: are we going to get a visa grant? And therefore, you find that our processes are so well streamlined. We simplified for you. We've digested it for you and tell you, please submit this and this particular documentation, so that you find that when now we launch your visa, our chances of getting a visa grant for you that is positive is at 99%. We also have built a culture around taking care of our clients, especially when they land to their international destinations. Before you actually leave, we prepare you. We tell you that when you go to a different culture, this is what you're likely to find. This is how to prepare yourself. These are the do's and the don'ts. And then when you go to the other end, we have prepared a team. You know, our office is on the other end. And this is one of the very, very distinct mark of Grace International. The fact that we have global offices where the students are going gives a parent, especially parents, we are concerned what is going to happen to my son and daughter when they go, for instance, to Australia. They don't know anyone, for those who are very new to these particular spaces. What will happen? So you find that they are well received. In fact, for our clients, they're received from the airport. The first week, 3 to 5, 7 days, they are given free accommodation, free food. They're taken to the local markets, the local banks, the local hospitals. They're taken to the institutions, and they are shown that this is how you navigate the terrain for yourself. And if you need any support, please come back to us. They activate the phone SIM cards, they activate the banks. And so by the time you're actually going into class for orientation, you're already feeling at home. And we try as much as possible, especially when clients cooperate with us. We try as much as possible to get you enough time to get into your study destinations way before you start your semester or your course. So you find that we customize our services around about the client's satisfaction and comfortability, so that when they get into the international destination, then they're really comfortable. Not to mention that, for instance, when a student comes to Grace International and they are going to a place like Australia in Melbourne, one of the concerns is, how will I know where to get a part-time gig, for instance? how will I know which organization to go to in terms of approaching them for part-time work? I want to tell you, Kalia, that our offices in the local, international destinations will help you find this part-time work by the time you now get even better opportunities. So why Grace International? We pride ourselves in family. We pride ourselves in roundabout a culture of care. We pride ourselves roundabout a culture, a process that is seamless, that is very clear from the beginning to the end. We pride ourselves in mentoring, especially the people who come through our hands. We are not just interested in you getting to the international destination, but we are working with you. And we ensure that even when you get to your university of choice or college of choice, you are choosing the right courses that are friendly and they're fitting within your budget, and you are going to be able to complete your studies. We hold you even after that. And sometimes you find like 80% of our clients, especially I'll skew this towards Australia, because you talked about we are big in Australia, which we are. You find that we recommend and tell our clients these are the pathways which you're likely to find a more permanent stay in Australia than any other pathways. So Grace International, when you come to us as consultants, international education consultants, you're going to belong. You're going to have family. We celebrate your highs. We are there in your lows, and so you find that people will keep referring even their loved ones to us. So that is why Grace International. Thank you
Hey,
very
thank you
much.
so much. That was quite I would say elaborative. So coming to you now, Carol, somebody would ask the question um, about the process. The process before I leave. How do you prepare this person? One, mentally. Two, okay, what needs to come before what? Because people have been asking questions. This is what the person helping me said. This is what the person helped me said. Is there a process that is that can be followed, so that we say we start here, then we go here, we come from here, we go here. This is how what you need to know before you travel. What are some of those things that you do?
Yes, Kalia. When uh, when we get our students or those interested to study abroad, uh, the first question is, where can I start? Where am I going to start? Uh, what you have to know about starting the process to study abroad, we have various things that should be in place. And the first is your interest of the course that you want to go and do. Have you done that research very well? Which is your career, your objective goals in life? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? So when you have that in mind, that this is what I want to do, like let's say you want to go and do nursing, then the next step is what destinations am I going to? What are the best destinations for nursing courses? The best skills and knowledge I'm going to gain abroad. So we have countries like US, UK, we have Australia, Canada. So you do your thorough research on that. So when you just come to us, we also help you to guide you through the career counseling, and we provide those courses to you. We provide universities that are giving those opportunities. And now that is where we see, does your qualification fit their criteria? So when you have the qualifications and your criteria, they fit their criteria, that is when now we start the process for applications. Yeah, we look for a school for you, we do the application for you, and it should be like a country of your choice. We don't force you like go to study US when you want to go Australia. So we follow your choice. Your choice is our priority, and also your courses, but we guide you through. One thing people should know about studying abroad, the mental issue. The first time you will land there, definitely after we've helped you all through the process of getting the school, doing the application, getting the offer letter, all through to visa application and the pre-departure counseling and preparation. You will be there. and we have definitely issues of mental problems. And you realize when I arrived in Melbourne, one thing was the depression part of it that almost crept into me. You realize that you have left your family back at home. Like a mother, you have left your children. You are in a country whereby everything seems to be confusion. You are in a confusion kind of mode. And that is where you realize that, did I make the right decision? But trust me, after 3 months of being there, you realize that things take shape.
And
When
sorry
you
to
get
interrupt you.
involved, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you because now this is getting it from the horse's mouth. Of course, I'm not calling Karo a horse. Anyway, so and so
my
you see,
goodness.
Karo, of course, there is the expectation versus the reality. Maybe take us through what you expected. Maybe what are some of these expectations that people may be having, or those that you had before you travel. Then you reach there and you're like, okay, so this is the reality.
Okay, for me, my first expectation, definitely I got a scholarship with Australian Award Scholarship. So that means that I was catered for everything of mine, from traveling expense up to living in Australia and also studying there. So number one expectation for me was to go and study. And also, I had also heard about a work program, and we had that opportunity for work program. So the first two expectation is study and make money. Yeah.
But then now, in terms of did you have some rude chokes in terms of maybe you expected a different thing than
Yes,
unafika kule?
yeah,
Because now
sure.
you're talking about depression, you're talking about anxiety here.
Yeah.
Labda ni nini yenye ulifikiria ukifika kule you'd really enjoy and be happy and all that, then somehow it was not what you expected. Did you first of all have those ones?
Yes, I had. Yeah. I was expecting that, I had anxiety. That is the truth. You are going into a foreign land, and you have anxiety of what is expecting you there. And thanks to the programs. And the same thing is to this to Grace International. If you have somebody who is going to receive you there, then those anxieties become minimal.
They become
Yes.
minimal. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm moving towards you, Faith. Now the question I'll ask you is about once you're landing there. Of course, you've not told us if you've been there before, but then there's something that people talk about a lot, and I'm sure your office is concerned about it: the issue of accommodation. It's a big topic when people are traveling abroad. What would you advise people about accommodation?
There's different types of accommodation when you go there. There's you can stay hostel, you can share rooms, and you can have your own room now. So us as Grace International, we help you to get any comfortable rooms. It depends with your the pocket that you have. There's some people will prefer to share rooms now, but it depends with the student.
How easy is it to get accommodation? Because of course we've had people who've been stuck in airports and all that.
Okay, some of the students can usually look for accommodation when they're here through the schools also, because it depends.
Okay, and I'll still come back to you with the same question.
Yes.
Petronila,
Yes,
you talked about accommodation, and
Yes.
of course it's a big discussion.
It
It
is
is a
indeed.
huge discussion. How easy is it to get accommodation in these countries, and what does it mean to get accommodated? How much money are we talking about here? Because it's a conversation. I've been following conversations, and people say, okay, unaweza pata kweli uende, but then accommodation is also a big issue.
I agree.
Let's just talk about accommodation generally. How easy is it to get a place to go and sleep once you're in a new country?
All right, Kalia, thank you so much. And I just want to pick it up from what Faith has said. When you look at accommodation, I want you to see an education system that is just like our country. When you're going outside to study abroad, the international universities will always have a plan for their students. So they have the infrastructure that is built around the university. So they have hostels within the university. But just like Faith has said, you will find that they are at a certain budget depending on the universities. Just like we have here, some are cheap, some are expensive. We also have outside accommodation. We just close near the universities. We also have something we call homestays. Homestays is where a particular person has opened up maybe a room or two because a few people have spaces within their homes. Probably their children have grown up and they have left 3 or 4 bedrooms. So you find that they let them out. But these are also people who are approved by the government, especially like a case in example of Australia. Then, of course, you can also go and rent out an apartment if you can afford. So in terms of how much the costs are, it varies within the towns, like just like we have here in Kenya. If you stay in Nairobi, the house accommodation rents will be slightly higher than when you stay up country. So it really varies, and therefore we are able to sit with the student. By the time the student is getting to a place of now looking for accommodation, we already understand what is your financial background, what's your financial capacity, and therefore we recommend an accommodation that is that will fit within your budget. And allow me to also say, Kalia, that when you are traveling outside the country, the international destination, whether it is the UK, whether it is Canada, whether it is Australia, the government has already stipulated how much is expected for you to incur in terms of living expenses, accommodation, travel, Wi-Fi, communication. So they will usually give you a certain amount of money that, for instance, in London, they will tell you it is 10,000 euros or pounds or something like that. So the government expects that you will fit within that particular budget. You will show your capacity to be able to finance that particular budget. So it really depends. The government has already stipulated, so we also advise you what the government has advised you, and therefore you must show capacity to be able to live there by the time you're actually living here. Now, allow me to also add that when you go outside there, like Caro has alluded, she will tell you that one of the first amazing things is that when you go outside there, is that you find opportunities for work. Yeah, you find opportunities for work. So let our audience not get a bit too much scared in terms of how am I going to manage. Maju, unakuanga na nini, a lot of opportunities for work. And more than that, you will find that there's advice. We have already made your plans from here. If you're new, we have a Kenyan community. We have Grace International Student Welfare Program. So those two things will provide a very soft landing for our clients when they go outside. It's so seamless, Kalia. Maybe one of these days when you're actually interested in going outside there, you will actually see our process is very, very seamless. So we ensure that our clients are comfortable. We advise you right from the word go. It is one of the major concerns for the parents, but when we take you through the process, it calms you down. And just like Carol has also said, we receive you and show you around. That is usually the hardest part.
And now that you've gone back to what Carol said,
Yes.
Celine Dawn
Yes.
Kogo says, I'm watching you, little
Yes.
sisters.
Yes.
Okay, yes, help our children move their education
Yes.
dreams to the sky, but
Mhm.
still
Mhm.
psychoeducate them on safety. Now, let's talk about safety abroad.
Okay.
And I'll still start with you.
Okay.
Because now Caro somehow has spoken to it,
Yes.
but then I'll still come back to you, Caro, because it's a big issue. Recently, we had a student, or rather students who moved from Kenya to a particular country through a program that I may not want to mention on this show. And we've had cases of depression. We've had cases of, but even someone died by suicide, which raises the question, why would someone do that? How do I make sure I'm safe? One, mentally. Two, in terms of culture shock. How do you manage that before I travel?
All right, great, Kalia. Thank you so much for asking such deep questions. It is true. It is a reality. When you're going to a foreign land, well, not even a foreign land. Come on, unatoka Ushago for the first time and you're coming to Nairobi. We've had one client, for instance, who has never been to Nairobi, and therefore we were receiving them. so that we train them for IELTS, and they shared their anxieties with us. So just moving from one place to another that you're not familiar with generates a lot of anxiety. And we recognize that as a very, very pertinent issue that we deal with. And therefore, our process, right from the time we receive our clients and we are taking you through the process, we actually take you through a counseling program, a preparation session. We sit with you, with your parents. We need to understand, have you been exposing your daughter or son to real life situations? So if we find that a child has really been overprotected, then we tell them, please begin to do this. Like Kali, I'll tell you, one of the things we recommend to our students is that you must have a driving license. So if you've not prepared for driving, please start preparing before you leave. We will be more confident if you have actually trained for driving, because one of the things that you will find advanced economies are very efficient on time. So if you're working and also going to class at the same time, you really need to manage your time. So we prepare you right from the beginning. Before, when you come 5 months before you actually travel, we tell you, take your time to do driving. Are you familiar with computers, technology? Because and the environment outside there is technology driven. Are you familiar with the banking system? Are you familiar with the hospitals? Like, you will find we are working very closely with the universities, and the department that we are very, very pertinent and about, especially when we are looking at the partner organizations, is the student welfare department. We collaborate with them very, very closely. And that's why we said, we don't just take you to a place like Australia or the US or Canada. We ensure that we walk with you. We hold your hand from the time you get into the university. We are calling you, we are asking you, is there any challenge? We FaceTime with you, and we ensure that you're also leading a balanced life. And it's also good to recognize, just like we have challenges here in Kenya when you're going to the universities, we have issues of drugs, we have issues of all that. It is not any different from international destinations. So we make you aware that these are realities, but you can navigate through them successfully. Yes.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Morning Glory Show. My name is MC Kali, and once again, we are here on the Expert Tuesday to just increase how much we know about different things. And today, we are talking about traveling abroad. And for that matter, traveling to go and study abroad, we would want to know how different is it to study abroad. We would want to know what are the opportunities that are available. And so this particular morning, I have a very biased set, 3 ladies on set. No man. We'll talk about that at the tail part of the interview. Nonetheless, now, if you're at home, of course, help me share the broadcast. If you have any questions to ask, please ask those particular questions. And this one will come to you, Caro, as you connect about the issue of depression. How did you get out of that mental state? Because you said you got out, but then everyone is asking, how did you get out of it? Sure. How do you now balance it? Now you've gone into a new land, you've realized that it's not what you expected, or somehow it is what you expected, but then you miss home, there's homesick and all that. How do you get yourself out of that mental space?
Yeah, yes, Kalia and the viewers, it is true. The first thing is mental issue, and most of the time, if not stress, then depression is going to follow up. I said the first 3 months, that is where now determines your stay and studying in Australia or abroad to be a success. When you find that there are issues of mental issues, ensure that you have somebody to talk to. Be open, don't shy off. We have remember the first 3 months is when the first semester is just ending when you land there. So that means there is that semester you have to prepare for the next pay for your fees. There is the issue of homesick. There is the issue of new environment, culture shock. Everything is happening very fast. And you are left now in a confusion where next. So that is where you have to have friends. And when I say friends, you have to have good friends. Those who will listen to you, those who have gone through such, and they are able to support you to also walk through. So to me, I was supported by the school, my university. They have counseling services. You have to see counseling when you're there. Ensure you are very close with the counseling center for for students in the university, so that you are able to be guided and also to be helped. But if you go into your own cocoon and be yourself, then you find life now starts to treat you harder. Also find something to do. We said we have work programs. Try to look for work to do. So you are more on studies and working. It will help you to relieve those stressful moments, or thinking a lot about home, thinking of what I'm going to do next, where am I going to get my money. So just get involved with work programs there, and also your studies. But mostly open up, talk, and focus. Why did you go there? Yes.
And before we move to Faith, Petronilla mentioned the issue of drug abuse. She said it's no different once you are out there. Did you experience maybe situations where you would be like, okay, these are people from home, but then they've done things that maybe are unexpected? What are some of those things that our people do, hata ukitaka waambie na Kiswahili, that could reduce the amount of trust that people have in us out there, and could affect the study for that particular individual?
What I can say, number one, just avoid peer pressure. Be yourself. That is one. Because once you go into the peer issues, you find that some of the students there, or some of our colleagues, they are already involved in drugs. So when you enter into that peer pressure, definitely you will end up also being one of the victim for drug and substance abuse.
So you agree that there is possibility of somebody traveling out of the country and not coming back with what they went to look for?
Yes. If you're not going to be focused, you won't finish your studies. So you have to focus. And again, I repeat, focus.
Define focus.
Know what took you there. Your parents are sending you to go and study, like going to do nursing and other courses in general. Stick to the rules and regulation of the country you are in now, like in Australia, and also the rules and regulation for your college. And when you focus on that one, you stick on those rules, you follow, then you find that you are transition from finishing education to getting career, and all through even to gaining your residency or coming back home, it becomes to an achievable goal. Yeah.
And what are some of these unique rules that may not be in our country that people need to be aware of? Of course, I'm sorry that I've asked you so many questions at once.
Yeah,
that I'm also
okay,
looking at
okay.
I'm also looking at the clock, and I'm like, I would want to come.
I can say the rules and regulation in abroad is almost the same with our country rules. Yeah, and if I can say the unique rule there, it's more of like using drugs. We have them here in Kenya, so there is now much difference. The rules there are still applying
or
to
maybe
every rules.
that they enact their rules, or rather they enforce their rules better than we do.
Yes.
So that it is now more easy for you to fall into trouble or something like that.
The rules have been enforced and you have to follow. You do a mistake, the law is there with you. Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we still tunasema tunanoana because at the moment traveling abroad is a big topic. Everyone, of course, in this region, somebody is afraid that actually people could we could be having lesser people in the next few years in this town because so many people are traveling abroad, and we actually just want to reduce the amount of anxiety and the amount of what we don't know, so that as people also move towards these countries, we have more knowledge. Because Karo having put it's clear that it is actually possible for you to leave the country, go out there, but then still not achieve what you wanted. And so we are just trying to look at how do we make sure that, okay, once you get the opportunity to go outside there, of course, are there opportunities? Yes, we've said there are opportunities. We've gone ahead and said, is there a way of getting the opportunity? Yes, there is. But then we've also looked at the hindrances to some of the opportunities that are available. And so also coming to you, Faith, I'll talk about the hindrances. Of course, what are some of these challenges that you face at office level when you are when you are advising students on how to travel, the first question coming to you would be, of course, about the visa. What are some of the loopholes that you see during the application process? What are some of the misconceptions that you encounter pale kwenye ofisi? Labda, what are some of these common misconceptions that people walk into the office and you take time to maybe have to demystify them?
First of all, I'll discuss about the documents. Some of the students, for the embassy, want to see you are a genuine student. So you must provide a legit document and must be legit. If it's a bank statement, you have to prove the relationship of the sponsor. And that's the biggest challenge we face in the office. Yeah.
So that means that the first thing that many people fail is the issue of documentation.
Yes.
Okay. And coming back to you, Petronila, let me ask you a question about documentation. Now that you've said you've been in this game for quite some time, let's talk about documentation for a minute.
Yes.
There are those countries that require statements.
Yes.
There are those that don't require.
True.
There are, of course, what people call the ideal destination within this particular time.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about when you talk about all this?
All right, Kalia, your question.
Also, as you answer that, let's talk
Yes.
about the English. If it is the English I'm speaking,
Oh,
or
yeah. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, Kalia, when you're dealing with developed countries. They have a way of reinforcing a value system. They have a way of reinforcing a standard. And just like Carol was alluding earlier, one of the things that when you go outside there, they will emphasize is that they have a pass mark and you can't go a point less. Like, for instance, in Australia, you're expected to maintain an average of 50%. If you go at 49%, it triggers immigration and chances of you coming back home are very high. But anyway, when you're looking at documentation, their standards start here. And they will tell you, for you to launch a visa, these are the 20-something documents that you need. And they must meet a certain threshold. They've already stipulated for you, like, for instance, a bank statement must have a certain value, which you must have. It's not a negotiable for them. And if you don't have it, they will simply say no. They don't have room for negotiation. For instance, you must prove that the person sponsoring you to study outside the country is a relative, either your dad or your mom or someone close. Now, that also depends on different countries. Australia, you find that the relatives, your sponsor has to be someone close to you. In the UK, they want to see your finances are in place. They also want to see, much as we are saying it is lucrative to go and study abroad, they have a way of wanting you to get what they have to come and build back home. So they will want to see, do you have a motivation to come back home? Do you have an incentive to come back home? And therefore, how do I prove that I have incentive to come back home? I want to look at your property. I want to look at your ties. I want to look at the opportunities that when I give you an undergraduate, for instance, opportunity, a postgraduate opportunity, or a PhD program opportunity, are you going to bring back that education back home and build Kenya? And Kali, allow me to say that some of the leadership we have in the country today, most of them have actually studied outside the country. And that is why we ask that our audience, for instance, come and taste what the outside world has and come and build Kenya. We have continuously said our country has problems, but we can find the solutions by getting exposure outside there and bringing it back home. Like, for instance, let me give you an example. During COVID, you found, before COVID, most of our education institution, we have quite a number of that had embraced online learning, but when it came to COVID, you found that they just opened up their doors. Now, this online learning hadn't been embraced outside the country for the longest time. So when we go outside there, we get exposure to many of those kind of opportunities and interactions, and we come and build. So the distinct factor of studying outside the country is that we have standards that when you come to us, we tell you that if it is a passport, it has to have a validity of maybe 2 to 10 years. And it is not a negotiable. So if your passport, for instance, is expiring in the next 12 months, we tell you, please go and ask for an extension. Yeah, and that is why you find our systems are quite rigorous, and chances of also getting a visa grant are very, very high. So they have standards to keep, and that's why our documentation process is quite broad, very, very rigorous. We emphasize that it has to meet a certain threshold, because if we know if it doesn't, then it's going to be it's not going to meet the grant. I want to give you a case in example of address. You know, just your address. Your address should be the same in every particular documentation. Why is the address very important to international education partners? Because outside there, for instance, in the US, UK, an address means a lot. It could mean the difference between you receiving a particular service or not. So we emphasize, we are very, very keen on details. Your names have to align from your birth certificate to your national ID card to your passport. Your surnames have to align with your birth certificate, your sponsors, names. All that we ensure are properly aligned. So when we are submitting your documentation for visa request, then they come back positively. So in terms of documentation, Kalia, we ensure that you have the proper, you maintain the particular threshold that is required in the other country. You asked something about English. Now, the most amazing thing is that when people come for English training, they are so apprehensive, English. I thought I've learned, using English for the last, I don't know how many years, 18 years. But again, like we have just talked about standards, international destinations are very particular on standards. They have a matrix to measure, do you measure up? And so therefore you come to us, and in our training center, you'll find that we offer different English proficiency exams. We have PT, we have IELTS, we have the TOEFLs, the GMAT, all that. And one of the things that we have realized to make it easy for our clients is a lot of practice. Exams, you get a bit of anxiety. So we take you through, we train you, what are the expectations, and then we make sure that you train a lot. I want you to look at English in terms of how are you communicating with the other person, because your communication skills will determine what type of grade you get. And that English proficiency will also determine your opportunity to actually get, residency in a particular country, because the higher you score, the higher you're rated, because you are a good communicator. And it's not hard. Some of the things that you find in PT is speaking, we are talking to the audience today. Are we really communicating? So those are some of the things that they look at. So English, si ngumu, just come to us and we'll take you through, very, very easy, and you'll be well prepared and you score very well. So in terms of documentation, the training, we are also very particular so that we ensure you measure up to what our education partners expect of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And of course, let me go through a few comments so that we do not leave out some of the questions that are coming through the comments. Of course, I've realized that one of the biggest questions that is coming in is the issue of authenticity of the consultancy. So let's start with, of course, I read some of the comments. We have James Mumanyi says, perfectly explained by Petronila. Thank you so much. Regan Blessing says, I want to understand why some agencies lie to clients. You find that an agency is having too much promises, but out of 10, only 6 is true. Secondly, why do agencies ask for money monthly, like they deduct some amount? Of course, somebody else is asking the question, how do consultants like you make money? And how do you get or calculate your rate card? Lamek Kemaiz says, say hi to those great people following from Eldoret. Thank you so much. Ruben Kibire says, good morning, a good topic. The timing is indeed right for most of our people. Thank you so much. There's Aska Kogan who is saying she's following. Thank you so much. Purity Classic. Thank you so much. Just say hi to our great mom, Petronelia. She's mentored as well in business. Thank you so much.
Oh, really?
Cynthia Seymour says hi. Caro, thank you so much. Of course, MC Masir says, watching live from Eldoret town. Nice topic. Thank you so much. There's somebody says, we have heard about so many agencies. Wanaosha watu. How legit and different is Grace International? Please help me understand, because I'm interested in studying abroad. Victor Mwenda says watching live from Nairobi. Joshua Kiptolele says he's watching live from Cabenes. I need to take Petronila to Cabenes.
We'll gladly go there. We shall gladly go there.
Bro, uda chai tunakuja Cabenes.
Tunakam.
There's a Dennis Kiprop says he's following from Action Eldoret. Salamia hiyo watu, that is Elijah Kemei. Now, for the next few minutes, let's spare a few minutes to talk about authenticity.
Yes.
How do I know that I'm dealing with an authentic agent? And Petronila, I'm sorry that so many of these questions are coming to you.
It is okay. It is okay. It is well. It is well.
So, how do I identify that these are a legit person? That is a very good question somebody has asked. How do you guys make money? You can't be doing charity.
Sasa Kalia, mnataka tuwapatie siri zetu. Now, allow me to say this in all honesty, that when we are partnering with our education partners outside the country, we are their representatives, we their ambassadors. So instead of them coming to Kenya, for instance, to market their products, they engage us. So if we market and give them more clients, then it follows that ethically they would compensate us for that. So that is how we make our money. Now, secondly, in terms of legitimacy, remember we said we have a very, very open process. We sit with you and guide you in terms of education international destinations. Definitely you will find that the US, the UK have different demands. Legitimacy comes in the desperation to want to go there. And therefore, sometimes you find that these destinations, some will afford some destinations, others will not afford. So we are very keen to find out which are the destinations that fit within your budget. The ones that fit within your budget, you really have no reason to bring in illegitimate documentation. That is why we have found pressure. We give you alternatives. If you know your budget does not fit for the US, we look at a European destination that does not demand too much of the financials. Then secondly, we also take through, you remember you're bringing your documents to us before we submit them to visa. And by the way, let me tell the audience this, that when you expose, when you bring illegitimate documents, it also brings our credibility down. We make you understand that. It brings down our rating. And as I mentioned that, allow me to apologize to our audience for those our similar agencies like what we are doing, ambayo wameosha watu. We really apologize because it tends to spoil everybody's reputation. But our process, for instance, is free of charge. We don't charge you anything from the beginning of that process to the end. And that is why we get a serious big referral system. So in terms of legitimacy, allow me to go back to that. We have professionals that will look at all the documentation. If it is a birth certificate, we are collaborating with the AG's office. If it is your education certificate, the KCPE, KCSE, your master's certificate, your undergraduate certificate, it has to be certified by the Ministry of Education. The passport has to be certified. Every documentation has to be certified. So the government would also not want to put a signature on something that is not authentic. If it is the certificate of good conduct, it is also certified. Every documentation that we submit for visa processing is certified. Now, I want you to also know this, and I really want the audience to be very careful about this. When you submit wrong documentation and you have a visa denial for a particular country, please know it spoils your travel history. Yeah, so please bring in genuine documentation. Genuine documentation simply means a reflection of who you truly are. And with that, it will not be very hard. It will be actually very seamless to go outside a particular country. And we also tell you, if you feel you don't have the capacity now, why don't you give yourself another 6 months and build, especially the bank statement is what I had a client I had a client, allow me not to mention his name. He said, I have seen the repercussion of somebody whose visa was denied and he wanted to apply to another destination and he was refused. So allow me to build my bank statement up to a certain level and then I come back to you and then we continue. And I told them, I think you're very, very wise. You know, please be patient, take your time, bring the legit documents and you will eventually get there. So the important thing, like Carol was saying, focus your dream. It may not take it may not be immediate, but in the next year, if you build a good bank statement, you'll definitely go. So we give realistic advice to our clients. If you can't do it now, is it possible to defer it for the next 6 months, but submit genuine documentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, Caro, coming to you. Somebody asked, Pauline Kinyua, is it true that universities prefer IELTS compared to other English tests, e.g. PTE? And of course, as you answer that, allow me also to thank our sponsors, D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. Their May intake is ongoing. If you need to take up fashion as a career, please make sure that you visit D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. And if you need to dress to be addressed, that is, if you need some nice suit, if you need a nice shirt like mine, it's actually from D-Square Fashion House. So make sure that you visit D-Square Fashion House and also D-Square School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. Now let's come back to you, Caro. There's that question about is it true that universities prefer IELTS compared to other English tests? Of course, you'll talk about that. And in addition to that, because we are now closing in, I would also want you to talk about, of course, you are one of the testimonials. Talk about student experiences. Let's look at the impact of now studying abroad on your career. Of course, how much impact has it had on you? Are we just, as a person, how much impact has it had on you? As how different are people who studied abroad compared to those who studied in Kenya? Yeah.
Thank you, Kalia, for that. Let me start with the, is it true that IELTS are more preferred than PTE in when it comes to English language tests? It depends with the universities. You can start with the IELTS. It's not that you're going to focus more on just doing IELTS for a certain university. So we follow the requirements for the English proficiency test from the colleges and the universities in abroad. If they want IELTS, then you will do IELTS. But most of the time you find that IELTS is a bit difficult, and most of the time people tend to fail. So that is when they are going to repeat the test, then we can opt in for PTE. Yes. Yeah. So
these are so different. So is it options, or rather it is every university will give what they demand of the student? Okay, yeah. So that will inform it. Okay, now let's talk about the experiences, the testimonials. Yes, of course, I had Petronella saying you've taken 26,000 people in the last 17 years. That means that approximately 1,500 every year.
True, Kalia.
So, and of course, why are people traveling now more than before? Of course, you also need to tell us that.
Okay. My experience when I studied abroad and then came back to Kenya. The first one is I've seen my my career-wise growth. At the moment, or currently, I'm self-employed. I think that is a big step in my life, that I was able to gain the skills and knowledge in abroad. And when I came back to Kenya, I wasn't like going to look for work to be employed, but I can employ myself. So I can say one of the best experience is they gave me the knowledge, the skills that I gained now. I'm able to advance my own career in my own way. I run my own CBO, community-based organization. That is a women-led organization, and it really focuses on women rights, women empowerment. We like dealing with the girl child. Don't ask me about boy child, but they are included also in our programs, because we want to see a society where we have a positive social impacts in the future when it comes to health and also when it comes to economical empowerment. where people have the freedom to have their own finances. They are able to make their own decisions that are able to guide their future goals. Yes. So I can say that is actually number one success story, that when I came back, I was able to start my own things. Yeah. I didn't come and look for employment here in Kenya. No.
Okay.
Another thing is the networking and the collaboration. Grace International, we started saying it is a global education provider. We have offices across Australia, in all the states in Australia. So getting to know them and bringing that expertise to Kenya, we are now able to help our young people to study abroad, and with the right process and the genuine information. Yeah. So we give you the guidance, good courses that will help you to grow further. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And as we come to towards the tail part, of course, I'll now move to Faith. Faith, the person who sits at the office in Nairobi. If there's somebody right now who wants to visit the Nairobi office, and they're wondering why they should come to you people. Of course, it's your time to talk to the client now. Welcome them to Grace International.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. You're welcome to Grace International Nairobi office. We are located at Absa Towers, Loita Street. We are opposite GPU. I know most of you know GPU. So ukiwa hapo GPU, you can see a long building written Absa Towers, lower ground floor. You will find us there. We'll take you through the whole process and take you to your preferred destination. And as you have been told by my colleagues, our services are free of charge. Karibuni sana to Grace International.
Okay, thank you so much. And Petronilla, before you give your closing remarks, and by the way, thank you, Faith, for making time to be with us this particular morning. Now, Petronilla, before you give your closing remarks, somebody feels you've not quite explained how to differentiate a legit consultancy firm from that is not legit. Somebody is asking, who regulates these organizations? How do I know that I'm about to get into a con system?
All right. Okay. Again, thank you for asking the question again. How do you tell an agency or a consultancy is really legit? By the services that are provided, and are they going to successfully grant me the visa to go to the other international destination? Legitimacy comes in when I promise you that I will deliver a particular service and I deliver. And okay, well, different offerings are there in the industry, and just like us, we have chosen not to charge. But when you're looking at legitimacy, you're looking at what we say. Is that what we deliver? Yeah, that is how to actually tell whether we are legitimate or not. In terms of regulation, we are embodied in the framework of education in Kenya, the laws of the land. We have accreditations for the Ministry of Education, the university commissions board. So we are accredited. If you come to us, you will see all our accreditations, because we cannot operate and connect you to an international organization, especially for tertiary education, if we don't have the necessary accreditations. So in terms, and also compliances, the statutory compliances within Kenya and also outside the country. And allow me to brag a little bit, Kalia. We have our group MD. He's the current president of Australian Education Consultants Association in Australia. That means that our processes, our framework and everything are properly aligned with the laws of the land, whether in Kenya or outside the country. Now, legitimacy also demands that if we do not deliver the service, then you can come back and you have a platform, an opportunity of recourse. So legitimacy is actually given to us by the legal framework that we have. Do we have the necessary licenses? Yeah. And are we delivering what we are promising. If you pay money, for instance, are you getting back what you have actually paid for? So that is what I would want to say under legitimacy. Then allow me to just give our contacts for if you want to reach to us. I think I'll pass it on to Faith to do that. Our telephone contact and our social media handles. And by the way, especially for the young people, we are really on social media. You'll find us in TikTok, in Facebook, and in all those platforms. Come talk to us, and we'll have a conversation with you, and we'll definitely be able to enjoy some of the opportunities outside the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And of course, hope you've given your parting shot.
My parting shot, Kalia, to everybody. The most interesting thing about studying outside the country, allow me to summarize it in 4 things. Academic advantages. You get exposure in terms of modern technology. You get exposure into quality education, the way they learn project-based evaluation. If you look at industry experience, they begin to work with you with mentors from the industry. They give you opportunities to study within the industry in terms of internship, and your employability globally increases to almost 98%. And the most other amazing phenomena is, just like Carol has said, is that you build a network. You build an international network. You build friends from all over the globe, and hopefully bring back all that knowledge to come and build our country. Kenya is a beautiful country, but we also need to find out what are the other people doing so that they come and develop. And if you get opportunities globally to work outside there, you can channel those resources to come and developing Kenya. So my parting shot to the viewers is that come and look at what the international destinations have in terms of education, and bring back that experience to building Kenya and making Kenya a better place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And thank you also so much for making time to be with us this particular morning. Now, Caro, I'll be coming to you for your parting shot. But then before you give your parting shot, somebody is asking here. Of course, the name is disappearing, but then I think I can still find it. They're asking about age limit. Is there age limit kwa hii mambo ya kusafiri kwenda kule ngambo?
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Kalia. Yeah, sure. Especially in Australia, they are very concerned about the age limit. For example, when you are going to do the masters, the age limit, you should be 35 years by the time you are applying to go and study masters. Yeah. Otherwise, for bachelors and diplomas, then 22 years and above is okay. Even 19.
So for Australia, then you must
35.
be 35 years and
That is
above for you to
for
go.
masters, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My parting shot is when you decide to go and study abroad, kindly do thorough research of the course you want to go and do, the university you're going to do. Ensure you ask also those who are there about the universities. Find the advantages and disadvantages of going to study there. And most of the time you find advantages surpasses the disadvantages. And just do your research. Proper research will help you and will guide you to do the correct decision. And this is one thing also I want to emphasize to the parents and also to the students. When you're going to pay your university fees or your college fee, there is the conditional letter you have to be given by the school. Ensure that you deposit your educational fee to the school. Read their conditions, their offers, and in terms of refunds before you make any deposits. And when you are going to do that deposit to pay your fees, ensure you do it to the right account. That is the school account. Australian universities, most of them are legit and they follow the systems. So you are safe with your money when you do the right thing. Yeah. So be the first one to bring that change. Do the right thing when you're doing it. Don't give it to somebody's pocket or somebody's account. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Don't give it to in someone's account. Of course, we'll be coming to Faith to just read us the contacts for the office. But then before we go there, Kosgia Rapchesir says, good morning, bravo for all sharing the insights on these abroad education issues. Pongezi sana, following from Viga County. That is our director, Dawi Africa Photography. Then there is also Jacob Korer Maswai. He says, of course, it was him who had asked about the issue of age. There is also something. Okay, some of the comments I may not have read. Miriam Ambuyi says, well done, Carol. Thank you so much. Sarah Rabu says, good job, team. Thank you so much. Purity Kokish says, thank you for the topic. Thank you so much. Peter Emmanuel says, good job. Pauline Kinywa says, it is true that many, okay, I think I've already handled that one. And then there's somebody who actually gave you a very big endorsement called Maureen Okoth. Says, watching live from Nairobi, Grace International is legit urgent. Huko hakuna kufake documentation. If you want to be guided well, go to Grace International Kenya office. Of course, I'll be writing my invoice at the end of this particular show. Thank you so much also for everyone who's made time to be with us this particular morning. Of course, before I exit, I don't want to leave anyone out. Of course, if it's a question. For the many other comments, of course, I'll make sure that I sample most of them. I'll still be in the comment section to interact with you. I think I've exhausted all the questions. So thank you so much for making time to be with us. Joseph Melly, thank you so much. Elijah Kemei, thank you so much. Kogo, thank you so much. That is Celine John Kogo. Thank you so much for making time to be with us. And also thank you so much for the good work you do in our community to make sure that our children and women are safe. Now, let's come back to you, Faith. Read us the number for them.
Before I read, in addition to what Carol had said about the age limits, for these countries, you should not have any gap. She said, masters, you should have up to 35 years. But see, at Tulitoka high campus, when you are 23, then you go masters direct when you are 35. You have to show what you have been doing since you finish your degree. If it's diploma, what you have been doing since you finish your degree, your diploma, now you want to go to study your bachelor's.
It's already 9:01, but I'll have to ask you this question.
Okay.
Now, what happens to those people who finish school, didn't have school fees, and now want to go?
Okay, it's a bit challenging because they will say, why that long? But most of the people volunteer. Like, kama ulikuwa unataka kufanya community service, you can go and work in a CBO, you volunteer. So you have to show a recommendation.
From the people that you
from the people that you have been working with.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And this one now, we have to come back to you, Petronila. I'm sorry that I'm extending the show. My director is looking at me badly.
Wow. It is all right. Not a problem.
Somebody is asking about working hours. Will those rules which rolled out in Australia affect working conditions for the study program? The 48-hour fortnight hours. What does that mean?
Okay, I didn't get that.
48-hour fortnight work hours. I think there's a new rule that has been introduced that may affect working conditions for this during the study program. I'm told there's a 48-hour fortnight work hours. Of course, I've had the issue with the working hours before.
Right.
Maybe what does that mean? Of course, make it 1 minute because already we are eating into somebody else's time.
First of all, I really appreciate your audience. I think they're really interacting with us, and there's need for a lot of information. And just like the audience is asking, every country gives a certain number of hours that you're allowed to work legally within maybe a particular week, 2 weeks, and you must maintain that. But that they have actually analyzed and researched and seen that gives you an opportunity to feed for yourself, to give yourself pocket money and just sustain yourself. So those hours keep changing, by the way. They keep changing. What is important for you to know is that you are provided for by the legal framework, the education that framework of the particular country that you're going to. So it is already provided for in terms of as an international student for whichever destination that you're going, whether it's a US or Canada or Australia. They stipulate how many hours that you can work and even the wage rate. They are very specific about that. Yes, and it's a way of protecting you as an international student so that you get what is due to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Now, directly, please give us the number for the office. Once I'll just tell you once we are ready to have that. Kim, are we ready to have that? Thank you so much.
Okay, 07 19 231 999.
Check it slow. 07
07 19 231 999.
That is Grace International,
Grace International, Kenya.
Kenya.
Yes.
Okay, that's at the Nairobi office.
Yes, Nairobi office.
Okay, thank you so much. I think from there you can get all the other numbers. Allow me to, because of time, finish it up there. So thank you so much to everyone who created time to be with us this particular morning. Of course, this has been the Morning Glory Show. And before I exit, allow me to just remind you that we are going to Rimoi. And I don't know if my panelist where Rimoi is. Rimoi is somewhere in Elgeyo Marakwet. And if you want to see the biggest elephants, that is where you will see them. So on 17th and 18th of June 2023, make sure that you actually visit Rimoi. Actually, there's a poster going up at the moment. So make sure that you get the details. Of course, we'll be talking much about this before. Then before that, I'll also need to remind you about Disco School of Fashion Design and Tailoring. If you need to study fashion, that's the right place to study. You know, I've seen doctors while they're studying, they usually study close to a hospital. Do you know why they do that? They do that because when you study in such an environment, you have an opportunity of learning from the best. So that is also what Disco is giving you. You study from the school, you have the opportunity to also just walk into the fashion house and learn from the best. With that, allow me to say thank you so much for all those who made time to be with us. Tomorrow being Wednesday, it will be the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise edition. And I will be having Dr. Mwadime from Topil Hospital helping us understand common back problems and the interventions. And guess what? We'll also be having somebody who's actually undergone a back surgery to restore some of the anomalies there. And he'll be telling us how it feels. With that, have a beautiful day. Of course, my director is bullying me too much.